I didn't realize all the roles I'd have to play. But no matter what, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the many roles you play. And to help, we created an online caregiving resource center. At aarp.org/caregiving, you can find resources and connect with the caregiving community. Together, we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to learn more. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
KBLKradio.com invites you to a community celebration full of history and culture in the heart of San Diego for the second annual Diamond Street Festival. The event takes place Saturday, July the 16th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Market Street between Euclid Avenue and 54th Street. You can enjoy information booths, business resources, great food, local music, loads of fun for the entire family. For more details on becoming a sponsor or vendor, visit DiamondStreetFestival.com. That's DiamondStreetFestival.com.
America's finest city, America's finest music and talk. This is KBLK, K-Black, San Diego.
What's happening with it, San Diego? You're now tuned in to KBLK Radio. We got a good one for y'all today. We got a full house. We're going to be talking about life after the game. It's your boy Ciandre from the Bottoms.
Your boy Tone out the West.
SL 500.
Pastor Bowser, Cornelius Bowser, Chair of the Apostolic Church.
Beta Boss in the building.
Jay Magnifico.
Lil CS.
Hey, your boy Mr. Beam-tastic, yo, low bro. Outside the box. Let's get it. That's everybody. All right, today's conversation, we're going to chop it up about life after the game. You know, coming up where most of us is from, I believe everybody in here came up in the hood, you know, in the turf, just around whatever you want to call your region. But we were involved in many different hustles, many grinds, you know, and life, you know, after that. What is there? What do you do with yourself after you, after you come to that conclusion and you see that, you know, that not really, hopefully you come to that conclusion, you see that there's nothing really productive going on with the many different hustles that's out there. You know, unfortunately, we didn't really have a lot of, I'll speak for myself, y'all can speak for yourself too, but I didn't really have that. I did have the guidance that was there that was telling me the good stuff to do, but those wasn't the people I was listening to. So the other ways, the older homies and my older cousins and relatives and people that the entertainers I listened to, it kind of had me wanting to be a street hustler, gangbanging, pimping, all those different things, and I've probably touched every aspect of those. You know what I mean? So we'll go around the circle just so everybody can get this cracked off, man. What do you believe life after the game is, man?
Man, I think it's a process, you know, as far as growing, coming into your own being. Realizing everything you just said as far as, you know, you're really not getting nowhere with those hustles and that type of thing right there. You know, you're not going to ever really be able to build until you have like a business state of mind, start thinking outside the box, like the name of the show, and just coming across a whole different network of people. You know what I mean? That's on some positive stuff. That's when different doors start opening up and you'll be able to see different things.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what you just said. And I said we got to recognize within ourselves what we got going on and who we are and really knowing ourselves. A lot of people, they don't know themselves. If you ask somebody who they were, they would describe a totally different person than what generally people say who they experience every day. So we have to know who we are as ourselves and also understand that, bottom line, we had warped sense of realities.
That's right.
You know, we viewed things and we viewed things in an order that wasn't the natural reality and the natural course of things. Now there's factors and there's things that led to that and there's things that and powers that keep that in motion, but bottom line, you know, we had a warped sense of reality for what was really going on. So I feel like when we understand what really is going on and just our place, not just in society, Southeast San Diego, LA, New York, down south, but just our relationship, just to be honest with you, I'm going to go a little deep right here, but our relationship to the universe and the cosmos in itself. You know, how deep that is. You know, us being black men, you know what I mean? The melanin in our skin. And shout out to my teacher, Sheikh Anta Diop, Kaba Kamin. But the simplest way I could put this, we need to plant gardens in our town, but gardens in the aspect of this, the same way that we got the black thing in our skin that gives us melanin. It's called melanin that gives us our color. The same way how we get that in the sun activates, that's the same thing through photosynthesis. The same way that turns plants green, the chemical that goes up in there and makes it work. That's the best analogy I could use to show just our relationship to the universe and the cosmos and how we're deeper people at that. If our kids understood this and if we understood this when we was young, I doubt we'd have been doing a lot of things that we was out there doing. A lot of stuff we did was out of necessity to get money in the whole little nine, and because, like you said, what we listened to. But I believe that we need to understand who we are as a people and as men and as how it relates into this current time period right now, because ain't none of us finna do nothing that's corny.
How do we learn that, though, if it's not taught in schools?
Right, well, each one teach one. It's on us. It's not on the schools. I believe the worst mistake that we ever made was putting it on the schools.
Right.
It's not on the schools. We're a tribal people. We're not a I society. We're a we society. You know, and yeah, you would say, well, the schools should be a we society. But it's not. I feel like with every one of us, if we succeed, it's on the tribe. But in the same token, if any one of us fails, it's on the tribe. We forgot that, you know, but it's justified why we forgot that. Look what all that we went through, you know what I mean, period, as a group of people in this land. So, naturally, even us having this conversation right now, man, we went in 10 times ahead.
That's very true. Yes, sir.
Well, this is Pastor Bowser speaking here. You know, life after the game, when I think about it, you know, look at my life while I was in, if you want to call it a game, I didn't look at it as a game, you know, as a, you know, the person have a good hustle or something, they call it, hey, you know, he got game or whatever he's doing. But mine was game banging, but, I didn't have the game to be that pimp or that drug dealer, you know, cause, pimping wasn't my thing. I really wasn't groomed for that. Drug dealing, I tried it, but I realized that I wound up killing one of my homies, you know, over drugs. Somebody said, oh, man, I don't got, you know, I spent it on, like, oh, you did what? And so, you know, so I left that long. So I kind of got into the robberies and burglaries and jacking people, you know, whether it's drugs, we're going to jack you. If you're going to get drugs, we know you got money, we're going to jack you. You know, if you got some money in your house, we come to your house, we're going to jack you. So that's kind of the way we hustled and made money on the streets and things like that, as far as, you know, outside of the gangbanging world, you know, of the violence. But, you know, God, you know, it was God that brought me out of that. And so life outside of the game for me was a little different in the sense that I went straight from the streets into the church, you know, but it was about a year process that God was dealing with me, and I was running from the Lord and things. And so when I got into the church, it was kind of like a fish out of water for me, because it was a total different culture, a total different world for me. And I really didn't fit in, you know, because when I was from the streets, especially the church that I got into, I was the first Crip Blood, I was first gang member that got saved in the church. So they didn't know how to deal with me, you know, and so things were a little different for me, because I kind of felt like I'm like on the outside trying to get in. Yeah. But, you know, as far as recovering and regrouping and getting your life together and things like that, back then, I think it was a little bit more smoother in the 80s when I got out, versus the way you're dealing with things now, because laws are a lot stiffer and so on. So it was easy for me to get a job, but I had to start at the bottom. You know, I started a minimum wage job, working a work shift, graveyard shift, part-time, you know, cleaning buildings, you know, but I took anything. When I got out, I took anything to make that money. And from there, I just worked myself up, you know. High school dropout. I never went back to school. I went back to school to better myself in some things, but no degrees or diplomas or anything like that. So my way really had to be working hard and having God to open up doors for you. And so, but, you know, God did bless me. You know, I had a job. I was a business agent, sitting at the table with lawyers and doctors and everything, and making them treat me as their equal.
How old were you when you decided to step out of this, you know, the street life?
I was 22 and a half years old, December 5th, 1984.
So that wasn't too far. You know, that's kind of a good age. Like, I'm dealing with homies now, they 30 in their 30s, like, damn. They told when your 20s is gone, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do with myself?
And that's the other thing, is because remember when we started banging and stuff, it was just one generation a little bit ahead of us. You know, I was around 12, 13 or whatever. But, you know, we had homeboys 16, 17, 18, the ones that kind of got this thing started. That's kind of what we was talking about last week on our show, is, you know, over in the coast. And so, but we all grew up together. We all knew each other, things like that. So we was that kind of that first group. So really didn't have, when we got into it, really didn't have no big homies in the 30s or 40s. You know, in our mind, we thinking when we, you know, I'm a bang, you know, and, you know, I get in my 20s or 30s, and I don't see myself as doing that, especially when you start maturing, get around 19, 20, you know, you start thinking about, man, I can't keep doing this kind of stuff, you know, and you get burnt out with it, you know, but we didn't have nothing to look up to in the sense of, a lot of homies in the 30s, 40s got their lives together, successful and things like that. So, you know, we kind of have to tread that way ourselves. You know, I had maybe like one homeboy that, had got in church before I did, and he was one of my big homies. And, but that's all we had to look to in that sense. So today, I you know, when I got out, that would have been the last thing. I thought that, you know, you'd have folks in their 30s and 40s and still tripping and banging and stuff like that.
The culture got a little bit more embedded.
Yeah. For real. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing to do.
Yeah. And you had it in LA. I mean, you know, LA, there was, you know, cause it was started kind of in the late 60s. So you had some guys that was already old. So you kind of saw that a little bit there. You say, ain't no way we're going to be doing that down here. But it ended up happening, you know, and I started seeing it, you know, my homies, you know, cause a lot of them in the 50s, I'm 53, and some of them are a few years older than me, and some of them a couple of years younger than me. But, you know, I see a lot of them, you know, especially when you go to prison, you're gone for 15, 19 years, a lot of times you get out and start right where they, pick up right where they left off at. You know, the mind hasn't developed and matured. And so with me, life after the game, it took a long time for me to really reform, you know. I mean, not reform, but really, cause I got saved and I had a new mind, but, you know, you have that flesh and that spirit, and sometimes, you know, people push me. And there was a couple of times, man, I went to somebody's house with guns, going to blast them, but, when I knocked on the door, they wasn't there. I was in church, I wasn't pastor yet, but I was in church, you know. And the other time I was like, you ain't getting away with this. It helps for me, and I knew I didn't want to go back to that life, and I knew, you know, it was a challenge to change, but I think there's a lot of opportunities and doors to get out people behind you that's supporting you and that's help you.
In there, you got people telling you to get on the street. You know what I'm saying? And I got tired of getting work, man. Straight up, you know what I mean? I start seeing these. It's a big dude fest in there, you know what I'm saying? And I did real big stretches like that, you know, thank God. But you know what I mean? Just that little bit of, you know, in and out. It break you up, and you got to start back from scratch. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're doing, you know. And that shit is just it tears you up. You know what I mean? Financially, you know. Me, I'm always doing music, so you know, I'm not hot no more. You know what I mean? I go cold. You know what I mean? And dudes is thinking that's cool. Me personally, I was always chasing money, so you know what I mean. I never was just going in there for dumb stuff. You know, people going in there for. You know, violating probation, hanging around people, stuff like that. I try to make sure I didn't, you know, it had to be something serious, you know, I get caught up, you know what I mean? And, it just wasn't worth it no more, you know what I mean? Straight up. True. You know, they broke me. I'm going straight now,
this is Jay Magnifico here. For me, man, I was addicted to money. After the gang banging, you know, I started gang banging young. I was probably about 12 years old or something like that. And, you know, that's what was cool to me, you know, the whole gang banging thing. And then, from there, when I hit about 15, you know, I was introduced to the life of pimping and getting money. And then from there, I was like, man, you know what? Forget this just gang banging and stuff, man. I can get paid. I want to have the nicer things. I want to have the nice clothes and nice cars and stuff like that. And then, you know, my pops is here now. He'd tell you, you know, he's telling me the right thing. I had to move with him when I was 15. He finding shirts that say, you know, ESP on it. You know, he getting on my helmet, red rags on probation, you know, getting locked up juvenile hall and over again, all these different things. And so I was taught the right way from my mother, you know, from him. But the lure of the streets was so intense. You know, being that, I had older homies that was picking me up in nice Cadillacs with TVs all in it after school. Other older homies letting me drive they Mercedes Benz to school, different things like that. You know, of course my parents know this type of stuff, but you know, you try to be sneaky and sneak around and stuff. Sometimes I'll be out of town getting money and my pop's like, you better get home now or don't come back. And I'm like, well, I'm about to just stay getting money. And I always end up getting back locked up. And when I get locked back up, I gotta depend on my pops to come pick me up. You know what I mean? So it was a big waste of time as a youth going through all that, but I got addicted to the money so much. And I kept going and going. So now I'm an adult. I'm living on my own, and I'm addicted to this lifestyle. I had good grades. I was good in sports. I could have went to college, but it was this addiction to the money. And me and a homie always talk about this now. We said there's no Hustlers Anonymous for, you know, when you want to get out of the game. You know, they got AA, they got NA, but what about somebody that you're addicted to this lifestyle of getting, you know what I mean, this money, living a life of leisure. You know, whether you pushing work, you know what I'm saying, whether you know, jacking, whether you pimping, whatever it may be, you get money, you get addicted to that. If you make $1,000 as a teenager in one day, it's kind of hard to go work a regular job where you may be getting $10 an hour and, you know, getting treated and get talked down upon and different things of that nature. So you get addicted to this lifestyle. You want to keep having the nicer things, you know, and, you know, for me, it kind of felt like getting out of the game. How am I going to survive outside of the game? Now that's the question. When you hit that brick wall and you are ready to change, what do you do to change? We're going to go to a commercial break here. We're going to come back to that major topic because I know it's a lot of you guys out there thinking, you know what, I've hit that brick wall. You know, I'm tired of the pimping. I'm tired of the gang banging. I'm tired of the hustling. I hit that brick wall. What do I do now to get out of the lifestyle? Because I don't want to go work this minimum wage job and be struggling. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be thriving, but then I don't want to be hustling and trying to thrive and I may get locked up and I got a kid to take care of, family that cares about me. So stay tuned in. We're going to get back to this golden answer, this solution to the problem of life after the game. Stay tuned.
KBLKradio.com invites you to a community celebration full of history and culture in the heart of San Diego for the second annual Diamond Street Festival. The event takes place Saturday, July the 16th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Market Street between Euclid Avenue and 54th Street. You can enjoy information booths, business resources, great food, local music, loads of fun for the entire family. For more details on becoming a sponsor or vendor, visit DiamondStreetFestival.com. That's DiamondStreetFestival.com.
Hello, my name is Lachey Collins, and I am a candidate for the San Diego Unified School Board District E seat. I am a parent and educator who understands the needs of District E. For far too long, our school district has been plagued by political scandals and backroom deals for years, and our students and families, they are the ones who have suffered. I promise you, as the elected official to represent District E, that I will put our children first and demand the high-quality education that our children, but also our community deserves. I am a candidate who is from the community and for the community. And as a result, I have been endorsed by the San Diego County Democratic Party, the California Charter Schools Association, Run Women Run, Assembly Speaker Emeritus Tony Atkins, Assembly Member Dr. Shirley Weber, San Diego City Council Member Myrtle Cole, the Honorable former State Senator Christine Kehoe, and a host of others. For more information, please visit my website, LacheyCollinsForSchoolBoard.com, and remember to vote for Lachey Collins on June 7th, a leader who you can believe in and a leader who you can count on.
The best R&B plus weekend talk, KBLK, San Diego.
Yes, you back on KBLKradio.com. Outside the Box, the name of the show. Topic of the day is life after the game. Got my big bro in here, Lil CS, about to bring us back in, man.
Man, this topic right here is so much to say, I don't even know where to start. First of all, I gotta say it like this. The game, it's the game of life. And there's losers and winners in the game of life, period. The route we were on was the loser route. The hustling and all that shit, it all comes full circle. So, let's say somebody said, man, fuck that. Can we cuss?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We outside the box. We try to keep it to a minimum, but it's real life conversation.
We just trying to stay away from the
you on the block.
word.
So everybody like, fuck that, I ain't getting no job. You know, I'm gonna get out and hustle. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Then you catch a case, you get out, and your parole or halfway house make you get a job. So the same years you wasted, you would have been ahead if you would have got a job from the beginning. And believe me, I know, because when I got indicted, you know, it was a big thing in the 80s, you know what I mean? You know, the dope game was on fire, and I was one of the young balling dudes in Dagon. I didn't get indicted, and I missed my whole 20s, from 20 to 29, all over the federal system, you know what I mean? So I know what it is to start from scratch. But at the same time, it's all about making that transition. You got to keep the same hustle you had while you were hustling and transfer it to something else. So not only did I have a job when I got out, I started my label, I started a clothing line, but I did all this at the same time while I was working. You know what I mean? Because it's a transition. Then I started learning more. I started building my credit up. I started buying property. I started, doing different investments. But all of us here, we didn't have nobody to teach us that. You know what I mean? So when we're at this level we're at now, we only can get to a certain extent because we don't have anybody to say, hey, this is how I bought that Kentucky Fried Chicken, but this is how I bought that Church's. We don't have anybody. So if I even had the money to go buy a franchise, I got to learn it on my own because none of us had the game from anybody older than us. And then I think also, too, the big homie shit is way misconstrued. A big homie, this is what I say a big homie is. A big homie is somebody who's supposed to teach you how to improve your life, not ruin your life. Right. A big homie ain't supposed to be somebody that's going to say, put in this work, go sell this dope. Right. He ain't got your best interest at heart. That's not a real big homie. That's right. And we were misguided because we thought the big homies, that's how they got their stripes. So we thinking like, okay, cool. Shit, they did it. I'm going to do it. That's how they got their rep. I'm going to get my rep the same way. That's right. But we was looking up to the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Exactly. But the problem is now all the young dudes is like they're idolizing the wrong thing. You got to be careful what you admire. If you admire this, you're going to gravitate towards that. Right. If you admire a businessman, you're going to gravitate towards that. Right. So it's all about kind of what you look up to and what you kind of set your mind to go towards. You know what I mean? Like I've been out now since 99, right? And I know it's a marathon. So when I got out, I started labeling all that, but I seen some of my homies back then. I seen so-called dudes because before I left, I was the man. I was the baller. So when I got out, everything changed. I was new ballers. I'm looking at them like, man, y'all just don't know. That shit ain't gonna last. I'm saying to myself, y'all don't know that ain't gonna last. So the same people that was balling back then and looking at me like, oh, yes, they got out. He got to start from scratch. And if they looked at me now and knew what I had now and where they're at now, they would see it's a marathon and I was on the right route. You know what I mean? You got to stay on that right route. If you got discipline and patience, it'll all pay off. But if you ain't got that, it's gonna be tough, man. It's going to be tough. So as far as what Mac was saying about making that transition, I think the most important thing is we got to utilize all of our hustles. Like, okay, you can work, but man, don't just let that work be your whole life. You know what I mean? Don't do other hustles. Try something else. Learn, read, do something to try to get past just that job. The job, look at it as temporary. You know what I mean? Look at it as, even if it's not temporary could be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, but at that time, you need to be stacking. And what we have a problem with too, well, to be honest, I never really had a problem, even when I was in the game, was managing your money. If you can't manage your money, man, you can forget it. I don't care what you make. I don't care what you make, man. I had clients telling me, they had judges and lawyers making $200,000 a year, but then they spending $210 a year. Right. So, you know what I mean? You're going backwards. So managing your money is the key, man. Managing your money to being disciplined and patient, that's the only way you're going to make that transition after the game. That's the only way.
See, I like how he said manage your money. Because it's not how much you make, but it's how much you can keep. And one thing, when you live in this lifestyle and you living fast, you don't even think about keeping your money. As fast as it's coming in, that's as fast as it's going out. Now, when it comes to the game, whether it's game banging, whatever it may be, pimping, whatever it may be, as white folks, they get therapy, when they going through mental things. I think when we try to get out of the game, what we don't realize is we have PTSD. We have these type of syndromes but we're not going to go sit down with a therapist and psychiatrist, different things like that. So what do we do for us that, have these mental scars and now you getting out of the game? To me, I turn to mentors, my father's a mentor. I felt if he was able to do it, I'm able to do it. There's other mentors in the community that had what I wanted to have. So, I kind of, got up under them and try to learn their skills and their trades and how they did it. Read books, because even though I may not know a billionaire, I can read a book about a billionaire and see how he was able to attain those things that he was able to attain. So just the same way that I followed the older homies in the hood, when I seen you was in a Mercedes-Benz, you was in a Cadillac, you had all the big money, and I mimicked them and had them teach me the game, sit me down at the park and lace me up, is the same way I transferred into this entrepreneurship skill field to where I say, hey, you have a successful business, let me model myself after you. Hey, you're good at finance. What did you do? Oh, okay, you opened up certain investment accounts. You have a IRA, you have a 401k. Okay, I understand that. How does payroll work? How does this work? I didn't know nothing about that. I didn't go to college, but books was able to teach me all of these different things. My parents weren't great in the business field, but they were great in the field of spirituality, of morals, and things like that. And that's your foundation. So once you have your foundation, everything else you can find in books and just talking to people and meeting people and things of that nature. Yeah. So I think that's one solution added on to what the other brothers have said in this room as far as life after the game.
And I agree totally with Mac said. You know, it's like, I wrote a book, a personal finance book called Get Your Finances Right, The Foundation for Success. But when I wrote it, it was geared towards us. Like, the first chapter is called Professionalism. Really, it's based on how you carry yourself. Then it goes to credit and managing your money and buying real estate. But it goes how we should think, right? Now, I could have easily wrote a book about my gangster life. I could have easily wrote a book, yeah, I did this, I was with Freeway Rick, I know all these, I could have easily wrote that, but it was useless to me. Right. You know what I mean? I wanted a book to where, okay, if they read this, they gonna see that you can do it this way and still have money. You know what I mean? And that's what it is, but at the same time, I think it's tough because the young dudes is who we're trying to reach. And they on this use drugs, all the stuff. When we were coming up, we looked down on people that use drugs. We call them smokers. You know what I mean? Now these dudes are bragging about snorting cocaine and popping mollies and Xannies and perks. I'm like, man, they got the game backwards, and that's why they can't think clear. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have a challenge. I'm up for the challenge. We're gonna have a challenge ahead of us trying to reach these dudes, the dudes in their 20s, and even some of these. Brothers in their 30s. You know what I mean? Even some of them, it's gonna be hard to reach them, but you know, I'm up for the challenge.
And I think we gotta teach, we gotta kind of start pushing patience, because we don't really have no patience in general. I mean, everybody that's kind of like and we gotta understand what's really going on and how to conduct ourselves. We understand patience, you know what I mean? And things happen in time. Our youth and everybody up under us, they not on that. They want that right now. Oh, he on. I'm on right now. I just made a rack right now. You know what I mean? Or I got this and that. So we kind of got to keep that in mind and try to get them away from that perception and understand that everything takes time and it takes patience and it's real. It can happen. We got all kind of different stories and different individuals in this room right now that have transitioned and went through processes. Me, myself, Lil CS, everybody in here has been through something, but we understand the patience that came along with that, and instead, you know, I want to be on, that's going to happen then, you know.
We forget the main thing to enjoy is the fearless. It take a lot of worry out of you. You make a living out of what you get, but you make a life out of what you give, and various things of what you're doing. Most of the time, what it's about loving God. We also have to also look at from the perspective of giving, and a lot of people are going to believe in what you believe in. And then when you start a family and you get married and you have children and you working and you trying to get your life together, you can get so distracted from your passion and from you giving back. Because that's where you're going to find your real happiness. That's where you're going to find your real joy, is being able to give back and so on. And I think that we have so much to give and so much to offer, but we just have to find our place in life to where we can do that and really pursue it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because I know, for instance, when I was transferring out of the life my pops, Bishop Bowser, he was having a youth retreat with some kids, and I went and talked to the kids, and for me, it felt so good to kind of talk to them and tell my story and give back. And when I had left that, I said, man, this is better than any money I can make. No matter how many racks I done touched, I said, giving back, it feels so good. So then I said, maybe there's a passion in this. And from books I had read, it said if you can have a passion for something and figure out a way to monetize it, you know what I mean, then you're not working, you know what I'm saying? You're pretty much, living life how you want to live. You're not a slave to your own employment. And so from there, me and Armand, we came together, started Paving Great Futures, and found out a way to monetize it for us and also other individuals in the community. So from there, I said, hey, I can make a life out of giving. I can make a life out of giving back. When I was worried, how I'm going to get out of the game, what I'm going to do now, actually my passion drove me to do something where I'm giving back and able to monetize that and able to support myself. So that was definitely a blessing. To get on what Ciandre was saying, he hit it on the nose about, having to have patience. Yes. Because, getting out of the lifestyle, the hardest thing for me was as being the leader and always the first to have to take off, the first to have to initiate phone and things like that. And people say, what we about to do, man? What's going to go down? When I got out of the lifestyle, we're running into enemies in different scenarios. Now I have to sit back and think, do I get off on this dude? Which can turn into somebody dying. Because I gotta hold my reputation. What do I do in this situation? Because I'm a changed man now. And one thing I came to realize is that until we understand that we have to learn to forgive and to love, it's kind of hard to transition into a life after gangbanging, a life after pimping, things like that. Because when you see your enemy, you got to learn, this is my brother. He may have shot at me before. He may even shot a friend of mine. He may even killed a friend of mine. But I have to learn to forgive and love this man and move on and realize we are brothers and he's not the enemy that I was taught that he was.
Right. I think that too, it comes a lot with youth too, because I remember the mentality I had at 18, 19, 20 before I left. I was like, man, I was gone, man. I was gone. Like, damn, I was in it so deep that I'm like, how did I even think like that? Now, the same thing Mac was saying, I see people that, you know, we actually had shootouts. Now I see them, we like, oh, what's up, homie? Oh, what's up? All the time. You know what I mean? And they my age, but, you know, they G's from their neighborhood and all that. But I'm saying is like what Mac was saying is that now when we see people, we don't even see them as the same as we once did. And I think that age has a lot to do with it and the influence. But like Andre was saying too, the patience, man, is the key, man.
It's a virtue.
That's the same, like, he said the same thing I was saying, but he said the word. Like, when I got out, I saw dudes balling, right? I'm like, okay, I know what's going to happen with that. Give me 10 years, let me see where I'm at. Right? That's the patience. You know what I mean? So
it's a 3 for me right now, and I'm over here like, ooh, 3 years.
You got to have that vision. You know what I mean? If you don't have that vision and you just want to bam, 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 it's going to backfire on you. There's no win in that game, man. The only game is game of life, and there's losers or winners. And whatever path you're on, and like I always say too, you're not really a product. You're a product of your environment, but you're really a product of your decisions. Yeah. You're a product of your decisions more than your environment.
Yeah. And what I like to tell people growing up like I grew up or growing up in the hood is, we think you really think you can't do anything else. You don't think you can't go be this businessman. You don't. It's hard for you to even fathom because you've never seen nobody around you in these positions or do these things. The only people I've seen do things was the drug dealers that seemed successful, the pimp that seemed successful at the time. Those was the ones. So that's who I patterned myself after because, you know, in this society that black people aren't really on it, especially here in San Diego. I know there's other places where you see black people in prominent positions and it might be a little bit more hope, you know, but here, who do I have to look up to? Like, okay, I can do that. So it's hard for you mentally to even think you can. You get stuck in the game. And a lot of people, not because you want to, it's just, that's all I know. That's all I think I can do. So I'm going to keep trying to perfect this. Right. And so I can make that happen. Right. What I like to let people know is really, homie, if you realize that you're growing up in the hood, you're sharper than people that's graduating from Yale. That's going to Harvard. You are 10 times sharper. You feel me?
So check it out,
right? How to do it. It's called transferable skills. That same hustle, that same grind. Like me and Betty, we was outside just chopping it up, not condoning the lifestyle of pimping, but the different things let's going through that era and looking at it, the different things that it taught. If you just use those same things towards this business, microphone business, you'll be a boss. You will ball. So I remember homies was like, we used to clown each other for falling asleep. Right. You ain't on your money. People would go across country, go to another state with a hope and a dream next to you. With no money in your pocket, because I'm gonna make it. Right. That's desire. That's drive. People be scared to get off their couch to do anything. You know, I didn't get the job today, or I got fired. I'm gonna kill everybody, or I'm gonna kill myself, or I lost my job. No, that desire, that edge is in us to go this hustle. Naturally. You know what I mean? Well, you know how to go shop at the 99-cent store and make a Thanksgiving meal. You know this stuff. You know you can do without. We just need to learn how to transfer that stuff we learned into a legitimate business. That same drive, that same hustle, that same hunger. And you will win. You will win, but you gotta believe in yourself first. And then it's gonna take people like us, because really there are people out there that got this knowledge, and I only know that because we start seeking them out. Right. They're there. You got the Black Men United, you got different organizations and people that got these skills and knowledge, but they keep it to themselves. I don't know for why. Not nobody in particular, but there's people out there that have the knowledge, because people gave us game and gave us knowledge after we went and found them. Right, but they're not out there just readily supplying it, coming to the turf, teaching the kids and coming to the schools, and you don't really see that. But now we got a re-emergence of consciousness where we now need to get active for them young ones that's coming up like us, and we will change reality. You know what I mean? Teach that kid that what you might be doing this now, but you have to show them their gifts. show them what they got, because these are gifts that we were born with, but we use them the wrong way.
Right.
You know, and some of us balled with it. Some of us did great with it, or for that time span, but God's never going to prolong and bless you. You know, you're going to keep chasing that carrot, getting a little nibble. As soon as you get that little nibble, now you just keep going after. You might never get a nibble again.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? You forever in your life chasing that carrot until you're 40 years old. You done lost homies. You done been in jail 10, 5, 6, 7, 8 million times. You know, you back at home with your mama again. All they do. You know, I did, for the most part I did, but then I still had that, like, negative and positive. They don't work out. Wild or annoying. Don't some word doing this. Like some one can invest in it. I'm gonna stop. It don't work out like that. You feel me? And it just took me really learning. And I haven't really felt successful until these last 2 years of my life. I don't have to have the money to feel that success. Right. I smell it coming. I got that patience, but I smell it and I feel it. This is the first time ever I really felt successful with myself, and that's doing what we're doing now. And this is the first time I've ever in my 35 years of life been 100% straight. And so that's what it really took, and I feel good. You know what I mean? I've learned to use the transferable skills, so all the game, all that stuff that going, you know, the things you learn in the game. You network. You know, when you in the, speaking of the Pimp game, like you be across country meeting new contacts. You know, it's meeting people from over here. You got friends in DC. You got friends in Detroit. I can go almost anywhere in this country right now and have a place to lay my head right now. Off of just so that those are business skills. We need to teach the kids that the same stuff you learn and seeing, use those business skills.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I think that's important because, you know, if we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And I know, like, when I got out of that world and came into a new world and you're trying to, you know, you get a job and you try to work yourself up. I had people that were behind me and that was mentoring me and showing me the ropes in the field that I was going in as a business agent. But it wasn't people from my community and so on. And sometimes when you have these people working with you and showing all the support, you can lose yourself in that to where that you forget about giving back to the community. You're more caught up in your career and where you're trying to get to, where you're trying to go to. Yeah, so it's very important that we do that. And I think the other thing is, you know, you have to believe in yourself, because a lot of times people are not going to believe in you. People are going to look at you, where you come from, the color of your skin, or what your education, or whatever it is, and look down on you, or kind of see you as inferior to them. But that was a strength for me, because when people did that, you know, because being a business agent and representing the union, you know, we had a lot of arbitration hearings. It was like a court hearing and stuff. And so here I am, a guy got a law degree, a lawyer that I'm going up against, and I'm a high school dropout. Who am I? I just work in this department, you know, and representing the union. And so I had to, like, work hard. I had to, you know, go to the law library, learn all these different things, what these different terms mean in the whole bit. But what started happening is that because, like you said, you take what you got from the streets and use it. And I used that, and I was winning all my hearings. So I was kicking lawyers' butts, you know, in the hearings and so on. But that came from applying, working hard, and having that motivation to really get out there and make something happen and do it. So that meant going to the library, spending 5 or 6 hours going through the books, studying and so on, and trying to read transcripts, depositions, all these different kind of things to learn how to, you know, win the case and so on. But then one of the things that I found out, I got so caught up in that world until on the other end, I was forgetting about, you know, what I'm really supposed to be doing. And so for that call, that passion that you have. So one of the things that I started doing, you know, life after the game is being a union representative. I knew a lot of managers in different departments. So my homeboys would, when folks would get out of prison, they would either send somebody to me or when they got out. So I was helping a lot of people get jobs. Yeah. A lot of people probably don't know, but Kevin, Schoolyard Kevin, I got him his first job.
See, that fell when they fell. So all them that's my era when we fell. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we was all in MCC together, but yeah, I know Yard.
Yeah. I helped him get his first job, you know.
Speaking on the transferable skills, I think the biggest thing goes back to what Ciandre said with the patient. So you said the transferable skills. Of course, we can transfer our skills, but when you transfer them, it's going to take a little longer to see that success as when you get it fast. Yeah. So that's what we got to get in their heads. Like, look, okay, when you make that transfer, you're still going to take a little longer, so you got to hang in there. You know what I mean? If you don't hang in there, then you're going to fall back this way. And then the same thing about you were saying about when you and Mac reach out to people that have the knowledge, you have to go seek it. It's because those people ain't from where we from anyway. You know what I mean? So
some of them are. They just get comfortable. You know, back to our roots. Like they get so like once like with black people, we've been denied so much for so long.
I don't think
that some people when they finally got a piece of something,
yeah,
they don't. They just.
I don't think they're from. They might be here with it. They might be over there with it. And they might be like that. But I don't think they were in it as deep as we were in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? They might grew up there, or grew up here, but were they in the action? Where they were.
Right, but look at the aura of what's going on with us, period, in the streets right now, and even in business. Let's keep it all the way real. I got a successful business. You know, I don't need the name drop. Forget it, 16-bar challenge. Throw it out there real quick. Wax is the team, but that's a successful one. But I've been for years, I've incorporated myself with as many people as I could possibly. Deal with Beta, deal with people from both sides, the whole nine. That's not something that everybody's ready even to do. That's not, but not even on no gangbanging time, but just period. We can't even get cats that if you start a food business, we can't. Don't pass up your food business to go to Jack in the Box. You know what I mean? Right, order one for free. I'll buy one if you slide me this one.
That's that PTSD. That's that problematic slavery.
Exactly. And to add to that, that's what's going on, and that's infected. Whatever we got, people want to scream Dago unity. There is Dago unity. There is Dago unity, but there's Dago unity in this room right now. But there's also Dago unity outside of this room with those other people as well too, because they're unified in their thought process and in their actions, and with not dealing with people, with hating on people, with not showing love. So there is Dago unity. That's why you got to be careful for what you ask for. Now let me get back to as far as talking about the youth. I agree with exactly what you're saying and what you're saying as far as with the patience with it and the whole nine with it. But we got to recognize who we're dealing with. We are the warrior class. That got caught in the hoods, got caught up in the low areas of America, that had to drink this kind of water, grew up with all this going on inside of our neighborhoods. We are the warrior class. When we try to change this youth, we are talking to young warriors. They're not going to hear it any other kind of way. They've been told they've been wrong their whole life. So what I would say is not to tell them that they're wrong. They already know this. What I would tell them is that they're not doing what they're meant to do within this universe and on this planet Earth. And also with accountability. I don't want to ruffle too many feathers, but a lot of times with our belief systems and the religions that we go into, a lot of those cater to no accountability. A lot of those times we seek our accountability through someone else, rather than seeking our accountability through within. And that's the African way that we did things, and when we were doing great things around the world and had great civilizations and were strong of sound mind, body, and spirit and of earth, we brought our accountability through within. That's not to take away from any deity, or to say that this is wrong or that religion is wrong, this one is right, this one is whatever. You know, anything that's about practicing and bringing you in good faith and in goodwill to humanity is solid. You know, but we still have to be careful where we go to as far as with accountability. A lot of us are taught to seek accountability through something else, rather than seeking accountability through ourselves. It's okay, you can go out there and it's going to be alright. Why? Because Wooty Woo got your back. You know, it's all good because Wooty Woo got this, because Wooty Woo got that. No, I'm good because I got me. And I'm accountable for what I've done. Last thing I'll say on this, I don't want to take up too much time. In my studies and what I've come up with, and especially from the ancient land of Kemet, we had something called the 42 negative confessions. Now, these are similar into what today's Christianity would talk about the 10 Commandments. But it's 42 of them. Now, the difference between the 10 Commandments and the 42 negative confessions are this, both impurity in itself and both great to live by. But the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not. What you say, what you can't do. That you're not supposed to kill your brother. You're not supposed to disrespect your parents. You're not supposed to commit adultery. You're not supposed to steal. You're not supposed to do those kind of things. The 42 negative confessions say, I have not stolen. I have not committed adultery. I have not trespassed my neighbor. I have not jacked somebody or whatever. Accountability, if you follow me, you know. And like I said, I'm walking a fine line here because I'm not here to disrespect any dogma that comes out of our land, because it's all pure in itself. A lot of it is definitely trickled down from colonialism and all that. Exactly, but the true essence of it all is us. So I'm not here to speak on anything whatsoever, but just we have to understand it's the accountability, and when we teach that into yourself, you was a young baller handling your business, your accountability was on point when it came to that hustle, because you was you had your finances, you had everything right. So a lot of us already have that implanted in us anyway. It's just how we come at it. When I was 19, first went to the feds and the whole little nine. I went through MCC. I was in GO. I went through Taft, Lompoc, you know what I mean? Right, the whole little nine as well. Victorville, Rumble, you know what I mean? The whole little nine. And couldn't nobody tell me nothing on the same kind of time. And that's how I was raised. That's how I was raised. I'm gonna hurry up, but let me say this. When I started off, when I went into this, gangbanging to me was superhero stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was my mother unfortunately left our family and moved away when I was 5 years old. I watched my father pass away a couple days before my 8th birthday. My whole role model who I looked up to was my bigger relative, Lunatic, from the set. So right before my 8th birthday, everything I wanted to be was him. He taught me how to be a man. He taught me how when you walk on the side of the street, you protect the person and have them walk on the inside. He taught me about colors. He taught me about the whole little nine that went along with it. So I was fantasized with just the life in general. It wasn't just because I didn't have food or because I didn't have this. That was Superman. That was what it was to me. It was dope to me how he looked and you know, just being a part of that and being up in that and what it went with. So I think it's important chance to him on that mean you don't. That means you just don't understand a lot.
Every up to people like Lil CS and the whole ghetto one thing. They don't really look up to people, you know, as mentors and stuff like that. They don't really, you know, they don't care so no kind of game. All we did, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they look down.
Yeah, they look down. Yeah, exactly. They look down. They'll look at somebody. We look at the cool people. They look at people that's not cool for advice, and to me, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like, you's a cool dude asking the people that's not cool for advice. So, you know what I'm saying? Just to say that they, you know what I'm saying?
Going backwards.
Yeah, and then they want everything instant. So, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard nowadays for people to, like you said, to have that patience. You know what I mean? For them to really, you know, put something into a business and start their own thing and be with the entrepreneurship, because they want stuff instant now. Even though they know on the other side of the penitentiary, right now the penalties is way stiff.
Gambling.
You know what I'm saying? Way stiff. And they still take, and it's not even a lot of money.
No. It really ain't even no real money.
Ain't no real money.
You working for the re-up man. That's who you work for, the re-up man.
Real money.
Basically, a lot of them find they have.
Said they got 100 racks, right? Okay, you catch the chase 40 on the lawyer.
Right.
When you gone, your family gonna mess the other 60 up.
Yeah.
Then you back out starting right where you started from, and you gotta get a job and start from scratch. Like it's not no real money, man. I was in the game, you know, 1920. Man, I have probably 4 times as much as I had when I thought I was balling.
Yeah.
It took longer. It was smarter decision, but it's like it's not no real money. They think it is though. I got 5 racks. Yeah, I got 10 racks in my pocket. What's in your pocket should be in the bank. It should be invested. What you doing with it in your pocket? What? I don't get it. You just want to show people on Instagram you got 10 racks?
Yep.
That's
They do that before they pass it back to the re-up man. That's what they do when they get on Instagram and all that. This the re-up money right here. They all know.
Taxi, and they get their girl that got a $6,000 refund check
once a year.
Trying to blow that.
Once a year,
just $6,000. Yeah.
And I agree with what CS saying to the fullest, based on, you know, when I was in a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, I was, you know, a lot of money was coming in, but it was going out fast, so I wasn't really stacking. And then when I was able to get out of the game, now I'm looking at it like, I don't need to have a new car every couple of years, you know what I'm saying? So before I got a new car this time around, it was 10 years before I bought a new car. Because I said, as soon as I drive this car off the lot, it's going to depreciate. You know what I'm saying? So it took me 10 years to get another one and just stack. And then I said that before I buy another one, I'm going to make sure I get my credit up, you know, so I can make sure that I get a good interest rate on it and different things of that nature. So it's not, you know, how much you make, but how much you keep. And that comes with patience, it comes with experience, and it comes with getting out of that lifestyle. You know, and I like what 500 was saying here, based on don't, you know, talk down to the youth, because one thing I heard, you know, Mother Teresa says, whatever you resist will persist. So if you pushing at it, if you anti-gangs, anti-this, whatever you push at is going to persist. Like with Trump, everybody's anti-Trump and pushing at him, and that's why he's getting bigger and bigger. Right. People don't understand the laws of the universe and how things work. If you keep pushing at something, it's going to get bigger. So we have to do that with our youth. We can't, you know, be saying that they're wrong and talking down to them. We got to more so uplift them. Like, hey man, you know, up here where you at, do you know that you a god? Do you know that you a genius? Do you know you a king? Do you know what's in you? And uplift them, and then from there, you know, we'll see great things happen.
That same game you learned on your own through going through the rocks and then reading books. Now if you telling them that, You know what I mean? You ain't gotta tell somebody to stop pimping or stop selling drugs and you ain't got nothing to replace it with. You know what I mean? And I'm still living in the same conditions, but you give them that knowledge that you learn, and each one teach one. It take a village. We all gotta reach back, and DeAndre, quote you again. You said this a few times, man. It's you never know who everybody's a role model.
Everybody's a role model, whether you want to be one or not. Somebody watching.
Yeah, you know, I didn't realize the little dudes that's still active right now under my umbrella was looking up to me. I was just dating their sister. Yeah. You know what I mean? I didn't know the little brother was watching me and now following in my footsteps. I had no idea. We was punching him, sitting him in the room. But nah, he liked you. He sees people around you, your nephews, the little homie upstairs that you don't even know why he playing. He really looking at you, watching you wash your car when he ride by on his scooter. You know what I mean? All that, man. So you got to definitely carry yourself in a certain manner, knowing you teaching it's bigger than you. You don't matter no more. You're helping generations, so they don't have to go through the shit we going through.
They're trying to live up to an image. They're trying to live up to the image on the videos on Instagram. That's the problem. Yeah. Like Mac was saying, he waited. I don't need a car all the time. You know, I went through the same scenario when I got out. I started the label. I had like a Mitsubishi Montero Sport, and everybody's having rims and all that, and I was like, man, I ain't tripping on no car right now. I'm trying to build this label. So I had that car for like 8 years. But I didn't get it. I didn't get another one until I got off child support. So I already had a plan. Right. But the point is that the image is there. Yeah. So I like, man, I don't care about the image. Everybody at that time, you know, everybody had 20. 20s was it. If you didn't have 20s, man, you wouldn't. I was like, man, I stay on these 18s. I'm stacking right now. You can have 20s all you want. I got a bigger plan. But it's back to what he said, you know, and back to what DeAndre said, man. It's patience and discipline, man.
And they got to realize everybody gets a turn, man. Everybody gets a turn. You can be patient and everything, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And see, so one thing we like to focus on when we push, you know, this positivity and you know, as a unit, is not on the problem but on the solution. Yeah. And so we got a couple minutes left, so we want to spend a minute if we can kind of, you know, make sure we throw all the solutions out there so those listening get a pen, notepad, you know, recorded, whatever you got to do, so you can share it with, you know, your kids, whatever it may be, or just even for yourself. What I took from it was patience is a solution. You know, looking at it like this is a marathon, it's not a race. Right. Swallowing pride, you know, you can't have a big ego. Sometimes you got to humble yourself in rolling buckets for a little while, things like that. You know, that's another solution. If y'all can feel free to join in to add on some more solutions.
I think you got to connect with faith too, because faith to me is believing in what you can't see and knowing it exists at the same time. So faith is a big factor when it comes to it. And like I just said, everybody gets a turn. Yeah. Everybody gets a turn.
Yeah, faith's a big thing. I know Bishop Bowser here can totally agree. If he can come out into life and God saved him, if God can save him, God can save anybody. So that's definitely for sure. Like CS was saying, financial education. You got to have your financial education and know what to do with your money and different things of that nature.
Just real quick, I think that's one of the biggest things. Like when you get money, your mind frame changes. Like I seen dudes that was banging, they get money, now they're doing business with each other. Because you think different when you get money. So if we can get these young dudes motivated to get money, they won't have time to go shoot. Right. They won't, because they're too busy being active with what they're trying to do. So I think financial education, once you teach them how to get money, I think that'll kind of solve a lot of them, gearing them another way. But if you ain't giving them no avenues and no knowledge on how to get any money, they gonna keep up with the same stuff.
True.
All that good stuff coming from some kings in this room right now. Thank you for tuning in Outside the Box. Hopefully we were outside enough for you. You know what I mean? Stop thinking inside the box. Stop thinking about just your block. Stop thinking inside of just San Diego. The world is big. You know, we used to one day rule this whole continent, world. We was the ones, you know what I mean? So think outside of your block, your set. The world's much bigger than that. Thank you for tuning in. www.kblkradio. And before we go,
we got to do a drop, man, for June 25th.
What?
All of our shows leading up to this revolve around how can we help the youth. Even this getting up out of the game was how can we help the youth. So June 25th, 1 p.m. at SDSU, we're having a youth hip hop summit.
Youth,
you know, for the youth, 12 to 17. We got all Dago rappers from all different hoods coming together, working together, showing unity and positivity. So please register your youth now. 12 to 17. Look us up on Facebook. It's on there under Paving Great Futures, under all the people that's in here. We all have it posted. Please.
And we love you, but you can't come.